Samidam Shanti, peace to you, peace to me. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Peter and today I want to talk about one of humankind's greatest strengths is the speed at which we can undertake profound cultural change. If you look at this last 200 years, we've had racism, sexism, we had the slave trade, we've had all this really dark stuff. And slowly, we're starting to push it away. I mean, this is over about 2 centuries. This is really beginning to speed up and wake up. If you look at the Mayan calendar, you'll see that it has risen like a pinnacle. We're coming to a pinnacle because we're coming to a big change in society. We're actually living through an enormous change at the moment. And so that's why it slowly ebbs away. These racism, sexism and all this is starting to slowly ebb away, where we will see a more egalitarian world, a more safer place for all of us to express ourselves and talk about things. But it doesn't feel like that at the moment. It feels like everything's being clamped down because you have a control system that's trying to clamp you down. You will stay there. You cannot rise up. What's the matter with you? So this was started all about 2 centuries ago, 200 years ago. You've got the Rothschild family who were based in Germany, Red Shield, and all of that stuff that you can research, and the beginnings of the Illuminati. The Illuminati weren't actually bad people at first. They were just questioned. They were heretics for the church and they were pushed out, and they were just trying to expand their consciousness into the greater world, and all that got turned over and twisted. And history is a big ebb and flow of good, bad. So you can't ever turn around and say, well, they're bad and they're good, because there's good and bad in everything. But it's been 200 years since we've been in this actual meme, the world that we live in today that we feel that we can't change. It was completely different hundreds of years ago, completely different thousands of years ago. But we've just been living in a tiny blip these last 200 years in like what could be 1 to 2 million, maybe 2.5 million years. They've got now, it's starting to get archaeological facts that we could have been on this planet over 2 million years. There maybe was 5 major civilizations that have come and fallen. And all of this is very credible, because if you look at some of these enormous megaliths on the planet, we couldn't build them today. With all the technology that we have today, we could not build them. They've tried it and they can't do it. And yet they say these people were primitive. They were primitive. And yes, we are far superior now. No way, Jose, no way. Primitive, no way. They were building enormous megaliths and enormous structures. And if you look at the period before the second Egyptian period, all of that stuff still standing. The stuff that was built, all the buildings and architecture was built after that, crumbling. So there was something to that our ancestors wanted it to last so that we could see it from the future, look back and see what they had. So our greatest strength is to take changes on. We can take changes on, but if you get locked into the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you are, you cannot take those changes on easily. But if you're flowing with your life, if you take epigenetics as a great example, your DNA is like information. Your DNA comes in from your mother and your father. And that's information that you have to absorb as a human being. And also you have the beaming in information coming in from your spirit, your soul, your energy, your life force, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. There's all sorts of connotations on each word that people go, you can't say it's your spirit, you can't say it's your soul. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's just the energy that comes in. So you've got this amalgamation of energies in you already as you're forming as a baby, and you're in your theta mode for 7 years of your life going, what's going on here? And you're absorbing everything like a sponge. So you're becoming conditioned. So the conditioning of that 7 years will reverberate all the way through your life unless you do something to change it. we can change. So epigenetics tells us that this information will clamp itself onto our DNA, and just simply through your mind, through meditation, through your willpower and your actions, you can let it go and then bring in new energy that forms you to change you as a human being and make you the human being that maybe you desire to be. Maybe deep down inside of you, you're yearning to come out from your heart, from your third eye, the information coming down for you to express yourself as a human being. So our greatest strength is the speed at which we can take this change on, undertake profound cultural changes. And culture has even now become a bad word, because they say, well, cultures just put you into a certain mean. And yes, to a certain extent they do, but at a certain extent it gives you a commonality amongst each other, so you become a tribe. So, and sometimes being in a tribe can be repressive. Some people need to be away from that tribe and be on their own more. Other people need the human contact. We're all completely different, and it's really getting a focus on yourself and recognizing those thoughts and feelings inside of yourself. Where do they come from, and what do I need to work on? What do I need to work on as a human being? Am I able to ride with the changes in my life, or am I stuck with something? If I share something personal with you now, mine, I was stuck in being a musician. That's it. I'm a musician. I am a musician. I'm a musician. That's it. Oh, I am a musician. Anything that came along said, oh, I can't do that because I'm a musician. I can't do that. I'm a musician. But I took on some acting roles as a extra, and I did a bit. I think I did 1 or 2 speaking roles, but tiny. And the films I were in, really, I was most of my acting careers on the cutting room floor. But I thought, well, that's kind of a bit musical. This is part of the entertainment business, so I'll do that, but nothing else. And actually, I found since I've lost that feeling, I'm a musician, I do public speaking now, and I love public speaking. I do live Qigong classes. I love doing that. I still love music. I still love writing music, still creating music, still releasing music through this YouTube channel. But I do other things now. I'm varying myself, so I'm starting to move with the changes in my life, and that's what we need to do as human beings, is move with the changes, not just blindly accept what's going on above us, but move with the changes within ourselves. So if you find opportunities there, take them, go for them 100%. Move yourself into that position, because you can make that change. And even if you feel awkward, unsteady, nervous, anxious, scared, do it. What was that book? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Just do it. Just get on with it and get on with the changes and see what happens. And it takes time. It takes time to move into that position, but each step you take, you keep going with it. It's an old proverb, isn't it? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. If you don't start taking actions towards where you want to be, you're never going to get to where you want to be. It's action. Someone asked me the other day, what do you think positive thinking is? Well, positive thinking is well, I can get to there, but I need to take action to get to there. It's not just thinking about it. That's half the secret. Half the secret is actually manifesting it in your mind every day. But the second part of that is always taking action for you to manifest that into your life. And that's where all the big secret is. It's the action. Keep moving towards your goals. And we can change as a culture. We can change as human beings. And we can amalgamate. If you look at the history of England, for instance, it's a group of different people coming in all the time and changing the culture. From the Romans, we accepted the Romans. We didn't battle with them towards the end, and it was you're accepting 2 different cultures coming in, and you got the Anglos and the Saxons both clashing in England, and this whole race coming out of this amalgamation, big melting pot. Now we've got the same thing happening now with the different people coming in from the Commonwealth and different areas of the world, and it's just a big melting pot. England always has been that, and it's starting to evolve and change. What's not evolving and changing is actually getting worse and more draconian is the government. The government seems to be pushing more and more downwards on us. And what we had in our past in England was the Magna Carta and the lawful rebellion. We had a clause in the Magna Carta which was called lawful rebellion, where you could rebel against the state above you, but that has all been taken away from you now, which people don't seem to realise. Well, you still have your freedoms. I hear these people say, what freedoms have you lost? Enormous amounts of freedom, and it's getting worse with these new bills coming in, with this new lockdown that we just had, and the bills and the acts of parliament are so draconian, it's unbelievable, almost Orwellian. And yet there's only a few people picked up on it, like 38 Degrees and other people, so they're seeing that change is not good. But the change that we can move into, I'm seeing it on the ground level with some great community workers, and they want to see the change in humanity. They want to bring people together in communities, and that's what we should be doing, and that's the change we need to change back to, but in a more enlightened way compared to the communities that we had before. And it's getting there, so